morning. I'm Diane Hall with AARP, and welcome to Yoga with Tyler. This yoga series is a part of our overall AARP Missouri Moving It Fitness series. So there are other classes that will fill the gaps between this class and our next one. But if this is your first time joining us or your first time in a yoga class, don't sweat it, because Tyler is really great at cueing the positions and moves and gives all kinds of great explanations. And if you've missed earlier classes, you can find the first classes on AARP Missouri's YouTube channel. And I did talk to our guys, so those should be up there now in a playlist even. So this class is suitable for many levels of fitness. However, you know your own body and limitations. Please do not try to go beyond what you know is right for you. And if you have any concerns at all, please check with your doctor before doing any AARP fitness offering or any fitness offering in general. AARP Missouri also offers some other live classes, Bar Roomba and Forever Fit. And then there are other classes that we have that you can participate in recordings, like Zumba Light or Movement for Life. You can find all the links to current, past, and upcoming programs at aarp.org/movingit. Now, all of our programming is created with people 50 plus in mind, but it's good for anybody of any age, anywhere. And we hope that our fitness classes, like yoga, will be a good option for someone who might not want to go to a traditional fitness class or may not be able to, like a caregiver or someone who has some health considerations, or just because it's more convenient to work out at home. In addition, AARP has other online resources for caregivers, up-to-date COVID-19 information, and DIY tech information on our website at aarp.org/nearyou. Now let's get started with yoga. Our instructor is Tyler Ferguson. Tyler, take it away.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our 6th class, exploring yoga through the lens of our energetic centers. Our energetic centers align along the spine, and they're part of our subtle body where nerve ganglia collect dense bunches of nerve ganglia. And our body is made up of these electronic or electric impulses, and this subtle body informs the physical body. Today's energetic center is the third eye. This is located at the center of the brows. This is a metaphorical eye for the place where you perceive your reality. And this is also the center for your intuition. So you might think of it as your sixth sense. This center encompasses the head, the eyes, the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, and the hypothalamus. Those glands in conjunction control things like hunger, thirst, and circadian rhythms. There's a whole long list of other things, but those are just a few examples of what those glands control. The third eye is your pathway into your inner knowledge, and strengthening this path is done through self-reflection. And self-reflection is most commonly achieved in a state of meditation. Now we're going to start today's practice with breath work. And breath work is often used in conjunction with meditation to help you prepare for meditation. But there are other physical benefits of breath work, including strengthening the muscles used in breathing, which increases our lung capacity and improves circulation throughout the body. So it can send more oxygen to the brain, increasing your mental clarity and alertness, but it also soothes the nervous system, which can reduce stress and lower blood pressure. So those are some of the benefits of pranayama, or conscious practice breathing. Today's pranayama is a fun one. It's my favorite one, and it's one that you do associated with the third eye, the pineal gland. So come to your comfortable seat and rest your hands on top of your thighs. Close your eyes or take your eye gaze down to the floor. Just begin to observe your own breath. Breathing in through the nose, if possible, and exhaling with your lips closed and out through the nose, if possible. Notice any sensations you feel. Watch the thoughts that drift in and out of your conscious mind. We'll start this breath by taking an inhale in through the nose, closing the lips and humming On the exhale. Now, hopefully you're in a space where you feel comfortable to audibly hum out loud. We'll continue trying that a few more times. Inhale through the nose and exhale and hum. Continue your exhale, trying to make the exhale about twice as long as your inhale. You can also explore changing the tone or the frequency of your exhale and exploring how that feels in your body. Finish your exhalation, and for an added treat, you can try this modification. Take your thumbs or your index fingers and place them gently in your ears. Well, hold on, don't put them in yet. So you can hear after you place them in your ears, we'll practice this again. So closing up the ears, bringing the elbows out wide. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, hum. Notice the sensation on the lips, the mouth, and the tongue 2 more times. Inhale, nose. Exhale. Feel free to change your frequency. Inhale. To lower the frequency, the lower energetic center, we're resonating in our body. So the lower the frequency, the closer we are to the root and sacral chakra. The highest frequency, the higher frequencies, the further up towards the head that we move. So finish your last round of breath, your last round of bumblebee breath. So I hope you enjoyed that. I learned from one of my yoga teachers that we practice this type of pranayama in all of our cultures. If you think about when you sing, think about how it feels to be in a group of people when you're vocalizing and singing together, and that vibration that you're creating in your head, and the joy that that vibration can bring to you. So you already probably practiced that pranayama. All right. If you want to cross your legs, if your legs are crisscross applesauce or easy pose, Sukhanasana, go ahead and do that. And then we're going to begin some yoga for the eyes. So I'm wearing glasses right now, and it's not going to work great for me, so I'm going to take my glasses off for a moment. And we'll just start by taking the palms of the hands and rubbing them together vigorously. Maybe peel the fingers apart so the palms of the hand can really feel the benefit from the friction, and notice the heat that you're creating in your hands. Relax your shoulders as you do so. And then take the base of the palm, put it right on your cheekbones, and cup your hands over your eyes so that your fingertips touch at about your hairline. Make sure not to pressure on your eyes, and then deeply inhale in and exhale away. Place your palms down on the top of your thighs and take your eye gaze forward, away from the screen. Look for something below your screen, either on the floor or out in front of you, a wall, but something you can fixate on in your space. Try to focus as intently as you can on that one object or spot that you've chosen. This is drishti, and you've heard fix your eyes. Focusing on a drishti can help you get deeper to concentration. Keep focusing on your drishti, and then lift your eye gaze up to the top of the room so that you're looking up as much as you can, but you're not moving your head or your chin, just your eyes. And then bring your eyes back down from 12 o'clock. I forgot to cue that. Down to 6 o'clock on your clock face. Keep breathing here. Try not to hold your breath. Keep inhaling. Eyes go up. Look at your 12 o'clock. Notice where that edge is, where it becomes uncomfortable. Explore that space without pain. Keep breathing. Bring your eye gaze down to 6 o'clock. And one more time. Take the eyes along the drishti, along the back of the room, up to 12 o'clock. Now you have a new drishti. You're looking up. And then draw your eye gaze down to the ground. Bring your focus back, or to 6 o'clock, then bring your focus back to your drishti. Rub your hands together again, create heat in your palms. By moving the eyes in this way, we're changing our focal points and mixing up the patterns of the distances that we look at. Place the palms over the eyes, resting the base of the palms on the cheekbone so that you don't put any pressure on the eyeballs. By doing this, we're bringing warmth and heat into the eyes, and we're also creating complete darkness. For the eyes to heal, they need to have moments of complete darkness. So keep that in mind if you sleep with your lights on. And then one more time, place the palms of your hand back down on your thighs. Find your drishti or your gazing point, taking your eyes off the screen. This time, take your eye gaze over to 9 o'clock. And then switch, continue to breathe. Take your eye gaze over to 6 o'clock. We'll do this 3 times, so move at your speed, but try to maintain the same speed as you move from 9 to 6. And what you might notice is there's places where you speed up or slow down. Keep breathing. Work on smoothing out those areas where you tend to speed up and slow down. I'm back at 9 o'clock. I'm not cueing it. I hope you're working on your own. Eye gaze over to 6 o'clock. Bring your eye gaze back to your drishti, your gazing point, after 3 repetitions of this. And then one final time, rubbing the hands together, creating your friction. This will be the last time we put our eyes in darkness and bring heat to the eyes. Some even say that bringing the heat, go ahead and place your hands on your eyes. Some even say that bringing the heat in can open up the capillaries in the eyeballs. I don't know if this is true or not, but I have heard this. Maybe it just feels good to relax and bring attention into the eyes. Keep breathing here. And then release. Bring your hands back down to your thighs. So that's a little bit of eye yoga. Start to come up out of your seated position, and we're going to start class today in tabletop position, hands and knees. There's loads and loads of information on eye yoga if you want to learn about it more. And I was on this chart where you can plug in your particular eye malady and then learn what movements are best for your eye malady. Now let's talk about this tabletop position for a second. If you are uncomfortable in your wrists when we're on our hands and knees in tabletop, one thing that you can do, by the way, I like it when your long edge of the mat is facing the screen. That keeps your neck in a safe position as we work. But sometimes I face you just to give you a different orientation. So from hands and knees, remember, you can pad your knees. You can do these moves. This is bulldog, where you bring your fingers in towards one another, and then transition to seal, where the hands go back toward the knees. So just start to paw and move and bulldog and seal. And move as quickly or as slowly as you want here, just allowing the tissues of the wrist to respond in these different movements. Pause and bulldog with me if you can. Straighten out the arms a little bit, and then bring your hips back to your heels. Notice that you have a lever. If your hips are moving back and forward, it might change the intensity of what you feel. And you can even make circles in this position, gentle circles, noticing that when the hips move back, you have less pressure on the wrists. And then when the hips move forward in your circles, you're adding more pressure. So you're really in charge of how much pressure and what your experience is. Let's switch to seal if that's even possible. So for some of you, you might do one-handed seal. For others, two-handed seal might work. Just choose what works best for you. And again, notice how the hips back creates a different type of sensation. And then you can move back and forth, changing the intensity of this stretch. Remember, you can do this one hand at a time. Make sure you're breathing, guys. So when you're learning a new thing, sometimes you don't breathe because you're concentrating on the new thing. I'm just demonstrating a single-handed circle and seal. and single-handed circle and seal. Now, hopefully you're looking sideways at me rather than looking up at the computer, cranking the neck. So the eye gaze, or your drishti, is down at the mat. And if you want to see what I'm saying, you just simply rotate the head so your neck is still in alignment. Good work, yogis. Let's come back to our tabletop position. We also have options for, if the wrists get super tired, you can go fists for wrists. That's an option for you. Or you can even come down to forearms. We practiced our forearms last week in dolphin pose. We're going to move into spinal balance today. Thinking about spinal balance from the lens of the drishti, take the crown of your head and reach it long towards the front of your mat and feel how the back of your neck is long. It's an extension of the spine. It is the spine. And notice there's no wrinkles in the front or the back. Find some torque, corkscrewing your arms into the ground and press through the top of the left foot. Extend your right leg back, straight back beyond you, and you don't have to lift your leg up into the air. This isn't a back bend. So just elevate the leg off the ground, re-corkscrew the right arm, pack the right shoulder, feel your lat turn on. Draw your toes toward your shin, push through your heel. And then notice if your big toe is dialing out to the outside edge of your mat, that means your hip is opening. So bring your big toe, dial it towards the inside midline of the mat, bringing the hip down. You have an option to lift your opposite hand as if you're shaking somebody's hand. Thumb is up, draw navel to spine, repack shoulder, repress through left leg. Left hand comes down, right leg comes down. And then round your spine into cat pose. Bring your drishti, or your eye gaze now, to your upper thigh. So you're looking towards the back of the room. That helps you just get a stretch through the back of the neck by bringing chin to chest. Come back into neutral, and then take, in these moments, bulldogs and seals, if that helps you feel better in the wrists. If you need any modifications, fists or elbows, please consider that. It'll be harder to extend through your arm, and we'll take this pose on the left side. Corkscrew, externally rotate shoulders, drive shoulders down and away from ears, draw navel into spine, neutral spine. Extend left leg long, push through the top of the right shin as the left leg reaches long. Dorsiflex the toes or the ankles so the toes reach the ground or reach your left shin bone. Dial the big toe towards the center. Draw left shoulder away from ear. Reach long through the crown of the head. Eye gaze or drishti is right down on the mat in front of you. Option to bring your right arm into extension, reaching forward as if you're shaking somebody's hand. Spread the fingers, thumb is up to the ceiling. Keep breathing, my friends. Keep breathing, keep breathing. Right hand can come to the floor at any time. Left leg can come to the floor at any time. Put your big toes together, take your knees wide, and send your hips back as far as they're comfortable going into a child's pose. You might bring a blanket or a pillow in to support under the chest in this child's pose. So being a supported child's pose feels good. And see if you can create a situation where you can bring your third eye space, the space between the brows, down to the floor and have a little pressure into the third eye as you rest. Notice the breath from this orientation. And notice if you can make your exhale slightly longer than your inhale. In the bumblebee breath, anytime the exhalation is longer than the inhalation, it puts the nervous system in the rest and digest mode, lowers your heart rate, which over time can lower blood pressure. Walk your fingertips forward, get a stretch in your upper shoulders and back. That feels good. Press fingertips in the ground and pull yourself back up into a tabletop position. Now I'm going to turn and face you just so you can see where I'm putting stuff. Take your left hand and put it next to your knee. If you want some kind of prop in here, that's perfectly fine. A chair is also fine. So hand next to left knee. And then the right leg extends out sideways like so. And then notice if your toes are facing the same direction as your chest. Try to get the outside edge of your foot down on the ground. And then make your way up into an upright position so that your shoulders are over your hips. Now, if there's too much pressure in that knee, you can pad it. If you don't have a pad around, you just fold up your mat. That's an old trick. Just fold up your mat to get your padding. From here, we've been exploring extension in the hip. So the knee that's down, take that hip crease and push it into full extension. Firm your back glute to support that extension in the hip. And then extend through the arm of the knee that's bent. As this arm reaches up into the ceiling, feel the rib cage pull away from the pelvic bowl. Slide your right hand down your right leg or opposite arm down the leg. Get a big side bend, big stretch here. Keep inhaling and exhaling. Keep breathing. And rather than just rushing into this shape, allow yourself to melt into this shape. Now your eye gaze is forward, but you can simply rotate your neck, look at the bicep muscle of your arm, and get a little bit more rotation with your drishti or eye gaze. Bring your eye gaze back to center. Inhale here. Exhale to exit the pose. Take your left hand all the way down to the floor or to a block or to a prop. Keep extended through your right leg. This is a wrist strengthening exercise and it prepares you for side plank. And then reach your opposite arm up and over. So feel the side body stretch in the opposite side. Keep pushing through the hips. So this time the extended leg hip, you can take that crease and push it forward and then turn on your glutes and draw your navel to your spine to support that. And then bring your hands back down to your mat and you're back into your tabletop position. In this tabletop position, you can get creative and be your own yogi. So you can move your spine through some cat-cow. Notice your drishti in cat-cow. In cat pose, drishti goes to the back of the room. That brings your chin to your chest. And in cow pose, your drishti looks forward and slightly up as you open up the front of your throat. Come to a neutral spine, halfway between cat and cow. Draw navel into spine. This time, take your right hand, place it on the outside of your right knee, and send your left leg long. Now, for some of you, maybe this is your pose today. You can take all the poses that I offer you and break them down for you. So maybe just getting this stretch is enough for you, or getting the outside edge of the foot, that ankle mobility, maybe that's enough for you. For others, perhaps you can rise up, but you're focusing on really getting this hip crease open and forward. So we hang out in pitch like this, and I'm asking you to open up the crease of the hip more, and then support it by firming the glute. From this position, the knee that's bent, take that arm and extend it, holding the rib cage away from the pelvic bowl. Darn, I think my battery's going. Stay with me. Keep breathing. And then slide your opposite hand over and down your leg. Good. Continue to breathe here. And then rotate into your eye gaze up into your arm. And then on your exhale, so back up. Diane, you can chat me if you want me to take off my mic and just talk into my portable mic or keep my microphone on. Take your opposite hand down. Start to feel pressure into the wrist. Feel the shoulder draw away from the ear, and maybe you can feel your lat turn on. Then take your opposite arm up for modified side plank here. So notice if you can pull the shoulder down and feel the lat start to work in the core for your modified side plank. Keep breathing here. You can turn your eye gaze up to the ceiling. And then bring your eye gaze back to center. Inhale. Exhale, push yourself back up. Plant your hands back down into your tabletop position. Bring your knee in. And for this child's pose, you can bring your knees wide, send your hips back, but just try to put more of the pressure on your forehead and third eye. Leave your arms out of the mix by either sliding your elbows down to your knees or completely bringing the backs of your hands towards your feet, letting your shoulders drape and rest on the tops of your knees. And again, if your forehead doesn't reach the mat, you can bring in a book or a block or a pillow. You can even stack your wrists. So if you want to just turn your head sideways and see what that looks like, but just stacking one wrist on top of another can be the height that you need to rest your forehead. Or if you do have a block in your practice, you can stack your wrists on your block. So lots of ways to be clever about getting the prop situated the way that you need it. Take your hands back out in front of you. Pull yourself back up into your tabletop shape. And we're going to take our downward dog. And remember the steps for our downward dog: curling the toes under, finding our lat activation by sliding shoulder blades down, draw navel to spine, eye gaze is down between the hands. Just lift and hover the knees. Practice your hovering. 3, 2, 1. Lower your knees back down. Step 2, lift the knees, hover, and then send the hips back and come back down. So I know that's tough to hold. I don't want to hold there long, but if you can do that quickly, connecting those points, hovering, hips back, then just sending hips high, that can put you in your downward dog. So come to your downward dog when you're ready. And then notice your shape on your downward dog. Are your feet super close together? Take them wider. Take them as wide as the edge of the mat. Heck, take them wider than the mat. I don't know. Play with it. Have fun with the width of your feet. Also, bend your knees a lot and let your heels lift a lot. Your eye gaze is to the back wall. So look between your legs. Now remember, inversions are contraindicated for glaucoma and high blood pressure. So if that sounds like you, come to your knees for a moment and rest while the rest of us experience this pose. Make sure you're breathing in this shape. And then lower your knees back down to the mat. Last week we talked about options for variations of downward dog. If your wrists are sore, you always have cobra as an option. I'm sorry, not cobra, dolphin as an option. Or puppy pose can be an option for a downward facing dog. We're going to go into downward facing dog one more time. So if you want to exit your downward dog into a standing forward fold, you can, or you can come back down to your knees and just come to mountain pose and meet us in mountain pose. So one more time, downward dog, hover the knees, send the hips back and lift the hips high. Continue to breathe, let your head hang heavy. This is an inversion. Inversions are great to bring blood flow to the upper part of the energetic system in the head, in the area above the heart. You can pedal your feet by taking one heel reaching long, bending opposite knee, and then doing the opposite. Lift the opposite heel long, bend the other knee. Draw navel into spine, and then lower to your knees and come to standing in your own way, or walk your hands back to your feet, or walk your feet to your hands, and come to a forward fold. Bend your knees a lot in your fold and let your chest rest on your thigh. Take your drishti back to the back of the room and notice how it feels like a magnet is on the top of the head. Pull your head down to the ground. Now we've been in this version for a long time. So let's come up halfway and get our head even with our heart. You can rest your forearms right on your thighs and sit your tailbones back a little bit just to allow the blood flow to change. From here, press into the heels. Lift your chest off your thighs and push up into standing. Reach your arms up overhead. Maybe look up and take your drishti to the ceiling if that feels safe, if you feel balanced. And exhale your arms down to your sides. Shrug your shoulders up into your ears and then open up your palms. Come to mountain pose with me here. Feet are hips distance apart. Notice the creases of the hips. Send the creases of the hips forward and turn on your glutes to support that. Hug all the quad muscles, the upper leg muscles, hug them into the bones as you use one of the activations we've talked about in the past, either crushing the ball together with your inner thighs, pulling the band apart, or externally rotating through the feet to have a stronger mountain pose. One more round of breath here. And exhale. Take your eye gaze and turn and look over your left shoulder. So just finding rotation in the neck. Bring your eye gaze back to center. So this is one way to add some cervical rotation into a pose. Notice my head is equally between my shoulders. I'm just rotating the chin, which is parallel to the ground, and then looking over opposite shoulder. So whatever orientation you're in a pose, you can add that little neck rotation and release and let go. Okay, so today's balance pose, I mentioned we're going to use a chair. I'm going to use this box today in place of a chair. What I'm going to have you do is holding on to something for balance if you need. Take your right foot and bring it onto your chair. A block will work for this, by the way. But get your right foot elevated and then feel yourself grounded in your left foot. Play with, see if in your left foot you can put the weight in your heels and lift and separate your left toes. So that might try and challenge your balance. From here, send your left hip forward, firm the glute, drive left heel on the ground. Take your left hand and put it on the outside of your right knee. Take your right hand, grab your left rib cage, and then start to rotate your rib cage. Not your eye gaze, rotate your rib cage toward the leg that's bent. Do it nice and slowly. And then reach your arm back behind you. If that's too much of the arm, you can change the lever. But if it feels good, you can reach the arm behind you and then reach opposite arm long. And then notice where you're getting energy from this pose. So see if the right rib can rotate a little bit more to the back of the room. Try to take it out of your shoulder or your fingers. Use your rib to do it. Maybe rotate your eye gaze and look back over your hands. Breathe, my friends, breathe. This is an intense, deep twist. You must be able to breathe in your twist. Bring your eye gaze back forward. Bring your whole trunk back forward. Inhale. Exhale. Stand down on the ground. Just observe that pose for a minute. Just notice the energy that can come up for you in that pose. I really enjoy this one. If you're feeling super great about your balance, what we're doing with this prop is we're creating this revolved pose, single leg pose. So if you want to do it with balance, feel free, go ahead. I just find that if it's your first time, that prop is easier. Take your left leg. Diane, I'm reading your text right now. So I'm going to try this. I hope that you can hear me okay. And I'm just going to speak a little bit louder and rely on my microphone in front to take care of everything. So left leg this time, steps up on the box, push down through your right heel, lift right toes. You can have a soft micro bend in the right knee. You want to make sure it's the muscles of the right leg, firming glute, hugging your quadricep to the bone. It's the muscles that are doing the work, not just stacking the bones. Right hand goes on the outside of the left leg. Left hand, grab the rib cage and start to coax and turn your ribs on the axis of your spine. Take some time to get there and arrive. Notice if the knee wants to open up, keep it tracking forward. Continue to breathe and then extend long through the left arm if that's accessible for you. Your drishti is to the side of the room. Relax shoulders away from ears. Extend through both arms if that's available for you. Shorten the levers if extending through the arms isn't available. Continue breathing here. Take your eye gaze and look back to your fingertips, getting a deeper twist and stretch through the cervical spine. Take an inhale here. Exhale, bring your eye gaze back to the side room and your whole body back to the center. And then take your left foot down off the box or off your prop. Pause for a moment in the pose of observation. Notice the energy that comes up for you in this shape, in this pose. And we're going to flow our way back down to the floor and finish our series on the floor. For our flow from mountain pose, circle sweep the arms up and look up. Exhale, bring your hands to a prayer shape in front of your heart, and then tilt your pelvis forward or pull your hips back behind your heels, bend your knees a lot, bring your hands down to the mat, and then step back into tabletop position. Bring the knees a little bit further back so the hips are forward and your shoulders are pushed over your fingertips. Now, when I bend my elbows, I'm going to bend them straight back. So take an inhale here. On an exhale, bend the elbows straight back and lower your chin and your chest to the mat. This is a tough move, but not your hips so much. Your hips are the last thing to come down. And we come down in the belly into a pose called crocodile pose. In crocodile pose, the tops of your feet are down, and you can make space in your hip area by taking your feet wider on the mat. Take your third eye or your drishti and put it right on the tops of your hands. So your elbows extend out from your hands and rest here. Now, if any of the spinal extension work we did last week was too much for your low back, you can just practice being in this crocodile pose. And the three elements that we engage to keep ourselves safe here is draw your navel, just pull your navel up off the mat, and then firm and turn on your glutes. And notice how that activation makes your back feel in this position. Then your third piece of your puzzle is just pull the shoulders down away from the ears. So that's crocodile pose. If you'd like to get a little bit more intense, you can push up and bring the elbows right under the shoulders. So this is a more intense version of spinal extension, but the same principles apply. Draw your navel up off the floor, squeeze and firm and turn on the glutes, and then energetically pull the elbows back towards your hips. As the elbows pull back towards the hips, your chest is pulling forward through your arms. Your eye gaze can be up in front of you, so you have more of an open throated posture. Or you can keep your eye gaze right down in front of you at the tip of your mat. Keep activating, keep breathing through these energetic areas. And for those of you that are really feeling this, once again, re-squeeze the glute, redraw the belly button up and in, pat shoulders. You can push into your hands and get a little bit deeper into this pose. But you need to be connected energetically, belly button drawn in, glutes turned on. Let's lower back down to crocodile or sphinx or crocodile for a moment, and then tell yourself, use your internal wisdom, did you have low back pain in any of those? In whatever area you have low back pain in, either back away and do the previous version of the pose, or go back to the cueing, belly button, glutes, shoulder blades, or navel to spine, glutes, shoulder blades. All right, today we're going to learn how to do a plank. I know I'm getting close to time, but I really want to teach you a fun way to do a strong plank. So if Sphinx pose is comfortable for you, bring the elbows under the shoulders, pack the shoulders, go into belly button and low back. And then notice in this orientation, I'm curling my toes under. So instead of having the tops of the feet down, I'm curling the toes under. And then feel the place where your flesh comes off the ground on your torso, on your front side. So right here is about where my flesh is coming off the ground. And then I'm going to peel that up and peel until my hips come up and peel until I come up on my knees. Push the ground away with the elbows. And you'll notice eye gaze is down. You're working really, really super hard. And you're in a modified plank. Toes are down, knees are down. But just by peeling up, you're working really hard. Release, let everything come down. Squeeze glutes, draw navel to spine, flatten out the tops of the feet, and stretch out that work. Now, hopefully that made sense to you. I want you to try that again, but I'm going to give you a version where once you get onto your knees, you could straighten out one leg and then straighten out the other leg. If you don't want to straighten out your legs, this is enough for you, that's fine. Also notice if your shoulders are creeping to your ears. This is going to cause pain. So draw shoulders away from the ears, pull shoulders down the back, turn on your glutes and core, peel up the front of your body, peel your low belly, peel your hips, come to your knees, keep breathing, maybe stay right there, or lift one knee, put it down, lift and extend through the other leg, put it down, peel yourself back down. Maybe bring your hands together and turn one ear for crocodile pose with head in a slight rotation, taking your eye gaze out to the elbow, getting a slight twist in the neck, particularly if you felt compression in your neck on that pose. One more time, breathe in, come back up to Sphinx pose, if that's comfortable for you. Turn on the glutes, low belly button, curl the toes. Peel up your low belly, peel up the thighs, press the ground away, pull the elbows to the thighs. Option to straighten out one or both legs this time. Continue to breathe. Eye gaze is down at the mat in front of the wrists. Lower one or both knees. Bring your belly back down to the floor. Crocodile pose the other direction. Other ear, I'm going to keep talking to the mic. Other ear now goes under your hands and your drishtis at the opposite elbow. Notice how that increased your heart rate. This is a really nice way to learn how to stay engaged and bring a lot more tissue and fiber to the table when you're practicing your plank. Lift your head back into crocodile pose. Place the hands next to the rib cage so the elbows aren't under the shoulders. Hands are next to rib cage for for cobra prep. Third eye touches the earth. Draw elbows down towards the hips and in towards the middle body. Notice how that pulls your chest up. And then inhale, lift your head and chest. Exhale, push up onto your knees. Press back into a child's pose for one breath. Let your third eye kiss the earth. Inhale, exhale, pull yourself up into this side position. Swing your legs around and then make your way down to your back. Last week, we talked about how rolling over onto your side is a safe way to come down onto your back. We're going to neutralize the spine in bridge pose. So let your eye gaze go straight to the ceiling in bridge pose. Try not to look over at the computer screen. Just listen to my instructions. Arms reach down to your heels. Feet are hips distance apart. Take an inhale here. On an exhale, drive your feet into the earth and lift your hips up into the air. Notice that you're pressing equally into each foot or both feet. And then open up the front of your hips. And if you feel safe here, you can press your chest, your heart space up and get further up your spine, back between both shoulders. Don't look around when your pressure is on the back of your head like this. Keep breathing in this bridge shape, neutralizing the spine. And then bring your hips back down, back to the earth. Keep both knees bent. Left foot on the ground, draw your right knee into your chest. And then take some gentle circles with the knee. So just intuitive movements. You can look at the screen if you want to understand what I'm saying. Then slide your opposite leg long if that feels okay in the low back. If your right knee's in your chest, extend the right arm out like a T. And use your left hand to draw your knee across your middle line, across your extended leg, and move into a bit of a supine twist. The eye gaze starts at the ceiling, but once you land in a pose that feels good to you, you can rotate your eye gaze and look at the fingertips of the arm that's extended out. Recline supine twist. The leg that is extended can roll, so it's the piggy toe or the blade edge side of the foot that's down on the ground. You should be able to breathe without pain in any of your twists. So if you have pain or you can't breathe, you need to reconsider. On an exhale, bring your knee back up to center. Give it a hug. Put your right foot down. Draw your left knee into your chest. And then give your left femur
Some gentle circular movements. I'm not going to lie, for me, I have a labral tear in my left hip. So I'm pretty gentle when I take these movements, and there's this one spot that just doesn't feel good for me, so I stay away from it. Extend your right leg long if the low back is cool with that. And take your left arm down on the ground to a T. Palm can be up or palm can be down with the left arm extended. Right hand grabs the knee. Gently encourage the right knee across the midline. I'm sorry, the left knee across the midline, cross the right leg. You can put the toes down and just pause in a place where you can relax in your upper body. Maybe keep your shoulders down on the ground. And for a deeper twist, take your eye gaze and look across at your opposite hand, or the hand that's extended. Continue breathing. Explore with the breath in this pose. So explore the twisty areas, explore the places that you might not want to go because you feel like you can't breathe into them, and notice that you can. On an exhale, bring your left knee back up to center. Grab the shin with your left hand, slide your right knee into your body, grab your right shin with your right hand, and just rock side to side. Now, I have a couple people that this doesn't feel great on their spine. And if you're one of those people, don't worry about it. For others, this can be a nice release in the low back, especially if you bring the knees sort of wide. And then place your feet down on the ground. Prepare yourself for 1 minute of quiet relaxation. You can walk your feet wide and bring your knees together, or you can slide your feet long. Soften your eye gaze, close your eyes. And in this minute, stillness in corpse pose, relax your jaw and your teeth. Take away the necessity to control the breath or be conscious about your breathing. So allow breath to flow in and flow out without judging it, without manipulating it. As we observe the patterns that we have on our yoga mat and our physical practice, we can cultivate the ability to observe patterns in our life. And it's through this lens, through this observation, that we can begin to make changes necessary to find goals that align with what we want in our lives. Allowing the discomfort of silence to happen. And then begin finding movement in fingers and toes, rotating wrists and ankles. And then slide your heels back up towards your seat, bending knees, bending elbows. Roll yourself over onto your favorite side and pause for a moment with your head on your arms, making a little pillow. Take your eye gaze to your third eye with your eyes closed. And look at that space with the intensity that you looked at your drishti today, knowing that's a place of your own personal power, wisdom, and intuition. Press yourself back up into a seated position if you want to finish class seated today, or stay longer in your shavasana if that feels right to you. I'm sure you deserve it. Coming into whatever seat feels most comfortable for you, connect to the sensation of grounding to the earth through the sits bones. And then feeling length in the spine, reaching the spine and the crown of the head up to the sky. Knowing these energetic cinders are a conduit, your connection from the sky to the earth. Bring your hands into this mudra, Anjali mudra. We know it as a prayer shape.
It is a pleasure and an honor to get to share this practice with you. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.